son of the greatest king in the world, and how he was enchanted, so that he became a crab by day, and was a man only at night, and he could also change himself into an eagle as often as he wished. No sooner had he said this than he shook himself, and immediately became a handsome youth. But the next morning he was forced to creep back again into his crab shell, and the same thing happened every day. But the princess's affection for the crab, and the polite attention with which she behaved to him, surprised the royal family very much. They suspected some secret, but though they spied and spied, they could not discover it. Thus a year passed away, and the princess had a son, whom she called Benjamin. But her mother still thought the whole matter very strange. At last she said to the king that he ought to ask his daughter whether she would not like to have another husband instead of the crab. But when the daughter was questioned, she only answered, "I am married to the crab, and him only will I have." Then the king said to her, "I will appoint a tournament in your honor, and I will invite all the princes in the world to it, and if any one of them pleases you, you shall marry him." In the evening, the princess told this to the crab, who said to her, "Take this rod, go to the garden gate, and knock with it. Then a black man will come out and say to you, 'Why have you called me, and what do you require of me?' Answer him thus, 'Your master the king has sent me hither to tell you to send him his golden armor and his steed, and the silver apple, and bring them to me.'" The princess did so, and brought him what he desired. The following evening, the prince dressed himself for the tournament. Before he went, he said to his wife, "Now mind, you do not say when you see me that I am the crab, for if you do this, evil will come of it. Place yourself at the window with your sisters. I will ride by and throw you the silver apple. Take it in your hand, but if they ask you who I am, say that you do not know." So saying, he kissed her, repeated his warning once more, and went away. The princess went with her sisters to the window and looked on at the tournament. Presently her husband rode by and threw the apple up to her. She caught it in her hand and went with it to her room, and by, her husband came back to her. But her father was much surprised that she did not seem to care about any of the princes. He therefore appointed a second tournament. The crab then gave his wife the same directions as before, only this time the apple that she received from the black man was of gold. But before the prince went to the tournament, he said to his wife, "Now I know you will betray me today." But she swore to him that she would not tell who he was. He then repeated his warning and went away. In the evening, while the princess with her mother and sisters was standing at the window, the prince suddenly galloped past on his steed and threw her the golden apple. Then her mother flew into a passion, gave her a box on the ear and cried out, "Does not even that prince please you, you fool?" The princess in her fright exclaimed, "That is the crab himself!" Her mother was still angrier because she had not been told sooner, ran into her daughter's room, where the crab shell was still lying, took it up and threw it into the fire. Then the poor princess cried bitterly, but it was of no use. Her husband did not come back. Now we must leave the princess and turn to the other persons in the story. One day an old man went to a stream to dip in a crust of bread which he was going to eat, when a dog came out of the water, snatched the bread from his hand and ran away. The old man ran after him, but the dog reached a door, pushed it open and ran in, the old man following him. He did not overtake the dog, but found himself above a staircase, which he descended. Then he saw before him a stately palace, and, entering, he found in a large hall a table set for 12 persons. He hid himself in the hall behind a great picture, that he might see what would happen. At noon he heard a great noise, so that he trembled with fear. When he took courage to look out from behind the picture, he saw 12 eagles flying in. At this sight his fear became still greater. The eagles flew to the basin of a fountain that was there, and bathed themselves, when suddenly they were changed into 12 handsome youths. Now they seated themselves at the table, and one of them took up a goblet filled with wine and said, "A health to my father," and another said, "A health to my mother," and so the healths went round. Then one of them said,